and that the pyramid and the triangle are fundamental manifestation of some underlying principle of creation. This is illustrated in crystallography. In illustration 1,
Let me zoom in for our viewers.
we see some of the typical forms of crystals as known to science. Notice the beauty of the forms. It has been demonstrated that by sprinkling sand on a piece of glass, as is shown in illustration 2, and running a violin bow on the edge of the glass, the sand arranges itself in various patterns, as is shown in the 7 black squares. Notice the forms, the shapes of them. Triangle, lots of triangles. The rest of the chart shows how nature adheres to the law of the triangle in snow crystals, ice crystals, acid crystals, and mineral crystals. We have investigated the law dealing with the number 3, symbolized by the triangle. Let us now deal with the number 4, symbolized by the square. Remember, the triangle, the pyramid is set, the base is a square. The square represents the earth plane. We have the 4 principal elements: earth, air, fire, and water. The 4 points of the compass: east, west, north, and south. There are 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Oh, I can get to that, huh? Yeah, okay.
Let me just zoom in.
There are 4 triplicities. There are 4 triplicities in the year dealing with the seasons. 1, 3 months for spring. 2, 3 months for summer. 3, 3 months for autumn. And 4, 3 months for winter. There are 4 fixed signs of the zodiac. 1, the earthly sign. 2, the airy sign. 3, the fiery sign. And 4, the watery sign. It is said that man needs to be perfected on 4 sides of his nature: the physical, the mental, the spiritual, and the psychic. There are also 4 parts of the day: morning, afternoon, evening, and night. The moon is classified by quarters: 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th quarters. Now we come to the number 7, symbolized by number 3, the triangle, and number 4, the square. To the masters of the mystery schools, the number 7 was a compound number, a combination of the number 3, the triangle, and number 4, the square. The triangle upon the square. There are many things observable in life dealing with the number 7. There are 7 days in a week. There are 7 principal notes on the piano keyboard. It goes from C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then it starts off with C again. You have the half notes. That's 7 here. When you get to these, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 notes. But 7 as the principal. Right here, 7. But I'll get to this later. The 7 day within. All right. In theosophy, there are said to be 10 chakras.
Let me just zoom in
Hmm?
for viewers to look at.
There are said to be 10 chakras in the body. Of the 10, they advise the use of only 7. They are situated on the top of the head, between the eyes, the throat, the heart, the spleen, the solar plexus, and the base of the spine. The mystery schools acknowledge, is that another slide? Let me see. No. Right. The mystery schools acknowledge 12 glands in the human body. Of the 12, there are 7 principal glands. They are the pineal gland in the center of the head, which is referred to as the third eye. The pituitary gland, which is in between the eyes, just about behind the base of the nose, between eyes. The thyroid gland, the adrenal glands, the gonad glands, the thymus glands, and the parathyroid glands. The moon changes its appearance every 7 days. There are 7 colors in the rainbow, the 7 wonders of the world, the 7 seas. In the Judeo-Christian religion, we have the 7 capital sins. Moses, the 7th patriarch, the 7 sorrows, and the 7 joys. The material creation of the world was on the first 4 days, and the creation of living things on the last 3. The Tower of Babylon had 7 stories. The city of Thebes had 7 gates. It is said that the cells that have to do with the creation of new parts of the body have a life cycle of 7 weeks, and that most of the changes that occur in man occur in cycles of 7 years, 7 months, 7 weeks, 7 days, 7 hours, and 7 minutes. And that changes take place every 7 minutes in the human body in connection with the blood and the process of digestion and breaking down of cells. That every 7 hours there is a complete regeneration of man throughout his psychic and physical bodies when the body is normal and healthy. Any disease, illness, accidents, or injury will disturb that rhythm of 7-hour regeneration. Every 7 years there is a complete psychic and cosmic change in man's life. The number 7 was used by the ancient mystery schools long before the science of astrology or astronomy was invented. The number 7 was a sacred number of nature's harmonic laws. Now we will see how number 7 and the triangle operate in the turning of liquids into solids. Dr. John Dalton was the public expounder of the atomic laws. He was a member of the Rosicrucians and worked in the laboratory of the lodges in 2 different cities where he pursued his experiments and observations. The principles upon which he worked and which formed his foundation of his philosophy of chemistry he learned in the Rosicrucian order. Dalton was considered a heretic in science by those who were not members of his unique schooling. Yet they seized his theories, which are now admitted to be laws of a universal nature. Let us look at some of the wonderful laws of the creative principles discovered by him. For the purpose of diagrammatic illustration, the atom will be considered perfect spheres. Different atoms, which can be flattened in places by contact with other atoms. Science says that the atom is like a rubber ball, in that it can lose its perfectly spherical shape. The spherical forms of atoms, as well as their chemical nature, enables them to manifest in many different ways. This latter fact Dalton illustrated by the diagrams shown here. Here we have in figure A 9 atoms placed within a square so that we can study their relationship to one another. By having the atoms arranged in this manner, we notice that the atom number 5, the center atom, makes contact with 4 other atoms, 2, 4, 5, and 8. 2, 4, 6, and 8. Okay, 2, 4, I'm sorry, 2, 4, 6, and 8. 2, 4, 6, and 8. We note also that there is considerable space between them. In this square, there are 3 layers which have large openings between these atoms, which we shall simply call air. Now, if we take these 9 atoms and arrange them as is shown in figure D, we see that atom number 5 now makes contact with 6 atoms instead of 4, as was shown in figure A. Atom number 5 is now in contact with atoms number 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8. 2, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. They now, furthermore, atoms 2, 4, 5, and 6 now touch each other, whereas they did not in the arrangement in figure A. This different arrangement makes every atom in the composition of anything a center of a mystic group, so to speak. The center atom will have 6 other atoms surrounding it, making a total of number of 7 as they touch one another. When a line is drawn from the center of the 3 atoms as is shown in figure B, that B? Oh no, I'm sorry, up there.
B
B.
there, yeah.
Yes. Which one is B?
That's B.
Okay, figure B. The lines form a triangle. We see that in figure E, the triangle has a certain height. Indicated by the dotted lines, and that the triangle is not an equilateral triangle. If, on the other hand, we take the 3 atoms from the grouping in figure D, such as atom 4, 5, and 7, and place them in the same relation to each other as they are in figure D, we see that the triangle formed this time is an equilateral triangle. The grouping in figure A is the formation of a liquid, whereas the grouping in figure D is the formation of ice. Thus we see the operation of the law of the triangle going from liquids to solids. Oh, that's not it. Okay, yes, right, that's it. If we look down on the pyramid from above, we will notice that there are 4 triangles. If we take each triangle as representing the number 3 and add each one, we come to number 12. We have 12 months in a year. 12 signs in the zodiac. There are 12 hours in a day and 12 hours in a night.
I like the little picture of the lady yawning.
The ancient astrologers, now today, I remember one person who worked for NASA said there are 12 planets in our system.
Alright, I'm going to zoom in a little more.
Yeah. The ancient astrologers took into account 12 planets There is said in chemistry a scale divided into octaves of 7 fundamental degrees with 5 modifications, making a total number of 12 degrees along with 12 octaves. It is
You can
claimed,
go back. Just go back to that slide. Thanks.
I'll point to this. These are the planets. It said that there are 12 in our system. The ancient astrologers took into account 12 planets. This is from a book that I got in the late 50s to early 60s by George Adamski, who claimed that he was told by the aliens that there were 12 planets in our system, and that these are asteroid belts. That when the sun gives off energy, is what you call positive in nature. These are negative. They act like a magnet. Once they come here, they pass the planets. Some go past. The others use only what they need for heat and light. When these go past, when they get to a certain distance, this belt right here acts as a pull for the positive energy, like a magnet, and throws it back to the next 4 planets. As it begins to slow down, it is picked up by the next asteroid belt, and is pushed on to the planets going further back. And then there's another one. A lot of these things are not told. A lot of these things I have studied earlier are now coming to pass. They're beginning to talk about it slightly. But like I said, they can't do too much with it because then you're going to have to take all the books back. And there we go, prophets again. That's why some of them say, well, let it lay as long as it can, more or less until I'm out of here. Then you can release it.
The monetary system.
The monetary system. Prophets. They don't want to lose the prophets. Books have to be brought back. There is, of the 7, the shadow on the, here we go, okay. It is claimed that when the sun reaches the apex of the pyramid, the shadow on the north face disappears at the hour of noon. Of the 7 principal glands of the body mentioned before, there are 5 more, just like the piano keyboard. The pancreas, the spleen, the liver, the kidneys, and lymph glands, making a total number of 12 glands in all. There are 12 tissue salts, said to be essential to man's physical well-being. We did that already, so I'll go past that. Did I go backwards on that?
We're just going through the slides, guys.
Yeah.
Trying to find
out where I'm at. Oh, okay. I'll get to it. There you go. Pythagoras.
I'm just gonna zoom in.
Mm.
So you guys can see.
Oh, one minute. Skip the page here. Okay. Pythagoras spent 20 years, so they say 22 years, in Egypt and 12 years in Babylonia. Many strange legends have been preserved concerning his birth. It is said that he was born of a virgin and was known by the same title as Jesus, namely the Son of God, and was supposed by the multitudes to be under the influence of divine inspiration. Of course, there are more than 16 individuals said to have been born of a virgin, who became a benefactor to mankind, all before the birth of Jesus. But that's the subject of another lecture titled "The World Saviors," which is already being put out. Pythagoras taught that everything in nature was divisible into 3 parts, and that no one could become truly wise who did not view every problem. 27. Okay. Let's see. All right, I skipped something. While still young, he left his own country and had himself initiated into all the mysteries and rites not only of Greece, but also of foreign countries. card. Oh, I see. But I see what I mean to say. I got something mixed up here. All right. Solomon was just one of many who traveled from the west to the east. In search of light, knowledge. To obtain the light sought for in the east, one has to affiliate with the orders that perpetuate the tradition and carry the lineage of the ancient mystery schools of Egypt. To the ancient mystery schools, light always meant knowledge and an understanding of natural and spiritual laws. Pythagoras raised the art of music to its true dignity by demonstrating its mathematical foundation. He is credited with the discovery of the diatonic scale. The diatonic scale is a scale consisting of 5 whole notes and 2 semitones. He investigated the therapeutic value of harmonics. Pythagoras discovered that the 7 keys of the system of music had the power to agitate or soothe the various emotions. That's something that's going on today. They're putting out music that doesn't correspond to what Pythagoras had taught. And it's discord, sounds of discord. They have no beauty to it. And they're putting it out purposely, especially to the youth, the younger generation. To Pythagoras, music was one of the dependencies of the divine science of mathematics. And its harmonies were inflexibly controlled by mathematical proportions. He, along with scores of other great minds, were believers in reincarnation and karma. But that's also the subject of another lecture titled Reincarnation, Fact or Fantasy. In the ancient mystery schools of Egypt, music was an essential part in raising the vibration and thought pattern of the candidates to a degree that would enable them to attune to the universal forces through the sympathetic nervous system. They knew that pronouncing certain vowels at a particular pitch and playing certain chords on musical instruments would stimulate certain glands or psychic centers in the body. The human body is like a musical instrument, with many of them being out of tune. Every sound has its proper pitch in the musical scale, and every sound is related to a color, a chemical element, and a nerve center in the human system through the sympathetic nervous system. To understand this more clearly, let's look at the chart in this slide, which shows in a mechanical fashion the arrangement of the vertebrae. These are vowel sounds and how they affect chemicals, but that's
I'm gonna zoom in, so just give me a minute as I do so.
Like certain notes.
Just a minute, Mr. Hall. I just want to zoom in.
Certain notes on the piano keyboard, their rates of vibration affect in color and chemicals. Vowel sounds also do the same. Certain pitch. I remember when I was taking vocal lessons, there was a lady there who couldn't really sing, but she was told by a doctor to get under a competent vocal art science master because her health wasn't very good. And somehow, I don't know who he was, but he knew that if she got under a good competent vocal teacher, the vowel sounds that she would be uttering and doing under the guidance of the teacher would do something to help the body raise up to a more normal function. Every sound
Just a minute. Let me, because the viewers can't really see it. So I just wanna. I'll let you know when you can go.
Okay.
All right.
To understand this more clearly, let us look at the chart in this slide, which shows in a mechanical fashion the arrangement of the vertebrae of the spine and the location of the nervous system. In the diagram, 5 vertebrae. Oh, wrong thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Just do it a little slower.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With their ribs. These are the ribs. The lines going out like that. These are ribs. Connected to the vertebrae. In this diagram, 5 vertebrae with their ribs are joined mechanically. The center squares represents the vertebrae, which I just showed. While attached to either side are the ribs, which I just showed. Through the center of the vertebrae, that little line right there, passes the spinal nerve cord. A heavy cord consisting of nerves. This cord is the center of the general nervous system and belongs to the physical part of man and functions almost exclusively in it. We will only deal with the sympathetic nervous system.
Those 2 lines.
Yeah, the sympathetic. One on each side of the vertebrae of the spine as I just showed, and running parallel with the middle spinal cord as is shown in the diagram. Each sympathetic trunk consists of a heavy cord of many nerves with ganglion, these little knobs.
I might have to zoom in.
With ganglia. I guess that's how they pronounce it.
All right, show that example again.
Opposite nearly every rib.
And just again, go over the lines again. The one in the center, the spinal cord.
The spinal cord, the sympathetic nervous system, which has to, I'll come to that, what it has to do.
And then the ribs are going away from it.
And then the ribs moving away. These are attached right alongside of the spinal column. Now, each sympathetic trunk consists of, I said that. From each ganglion are 2 nerves, 1, 2, called rami, connecting the spinal nerves to the sympathetic ganglia. Did I change the slide? Okay, slide change, I think. Yeah, okay.
All right, let me just...
I'll go back and explain something. As you see, these lines go to certain organs of the body. These sound can affect the vibration of these ganglia. If, say for instance, and I think this is known, if this is ailing, if this organ is ailing, and if a particular sound is uttered, or the hand of the fingers of the rami, of the fingers of the radial nerves of the hand are applied to these areas, like say for instance this area here. Let's say somebody had the healing power in their hand and could increase the radial nerves of the thumb and the first 2 fingers. if they placed it there and did certain things, the energy would go directly, the constructive energy would go directly to that organ and help to heal it. This is known. It was known for long centuries ago. They used to practice these things and do these things in the mystery schools.
All right, let me just zoom in. I'll let you know.
Oh, it's the same thing. Yeah, okay, good.
It's a different view, guys. Took the nervous system. Different organs connected. Spinal cord. And Bernard will go over it. Alright, go ahead.
The same thing here, a little bit different in the visual part of how it's worked. These are what you'd call the sympathetic nerves, moving out and forming, connecting with the organs. And if things are done properly, the energy relieved coming from these ganglia will go directly to the organ that is connected to. And laying on of hands can help to heal if that person has energy moving from those thumb and first two fingers called the radial nerve. If one takes deep breaths, and it can be measured, you'd find that there would be an increase of the energy being released from the thumb and the first two fingers. It's called this is called the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system, with its sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous division, belong to the psychic part of man and uses a higher rate of vibrations. The sympathetic nervous system is the distributor to the human system of a psychic energy and intelligence that enables all of the organs and parts of the body to function rhythmically in accordance with cosmic law and cosmic harmony. This system sends to every part of the body the curative, creative, repairing energy that cures disease, repairs injuries, and keeps the body building up during the greater part of its period of existence. There are many things that can interfere with this constructive process. One that we will discuss is music. When we hear C and D played together, they sound discordant. They don't sound pleasing to the ear, because these two notes do not have a mathematical or cosmic relationship of a harmonious nature. The same is true of E and F, E, F, G,